On today's hot sheet, I'm discussing a new record monthly housing cost for mortgage demand, New York City's regulations on short term rentals, and August wholesale inflation. Today is Thursday, September 14th, 2023. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. All right. Let me know in the comments which market you are tuning in live from. I am live today, 6:30 on the west from Palos Verdes, California, just outside of LA. I am back. I hope nobody voted me off of the hot sheet after I think we're 150 plus here on the year. And after Jeremy Knight from Austin, Texas was the first ever uh, host or fill-in host yesterday. So I don't know if you're interested in a being one of the rotational hosts. We're going to put together maybe 2 or 3 hosts. I think maybe Tom Toole might be a part of that for future times when I have to miss. I do have a vacation coming up in November for a couple days. So I don't know if you're interested in hot sheet hosting, maybe reach out. We've got a whole bunch to cover. Jeremy did a great job yesterday covering the CPI data, and we've got a lot to cover today. So let's get right into it, starting off with number one, Redfin News just published 7% mortgage rates, which we've been dealing with here for some time. Obviously, the increase in home prices, which we're dealing with for multiple years, have pushed the typical U.S. monthly mortgage payment to a record high and sent pending home sales down 12% year over year. We've been tracking this every single week on the hot sheet. This is what buyers, though, need to know and need to understand, that it's more expensive than ever to buy a home right now. I said this earlier in the week. Housing Wire had a headline: rate lock volume plummets in least affordable housing market in the last 40 years. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. That's the reality of this market until we can get some more inventory or some rates to drop. Technically, this would be the least affordable market in the last 40 plus years. It's more expensive than ever, according to Redfin, though. The median monthly mortgage payment hit an all-time high of $2,632 during the 4 weeks ending September 10th. Although the weekly average mortgage rate has declined slightly from August two-decade high, it's still above the 7% range. Prices are up 2, increasing 4% year over year. That 2,632 during the 4 weeks ending September 10th, that would be the highest number that I've ever heard for an average. I've been hearing 2,300 here lately, so that is a considerable jump. What does 2,600 get in your market? Does $2,600 monthly mortgage payment seem affordable overall with the median income earners in your community? Sellers need to know that this market isn't 2021. Okay, they do need to understand that going onto the market and maybe being active for 3, 4, 5 weeks is okay. Don't freak out after the first weekend with no offers. The market is shifting in a direction that's more stable, that's more normal. Going onto the market and selling in one day was never normal. Prices continue to rise right now because inventory is so low. It doesn't mean you're going to sell in an hour with 20 offers. It's posting one of the biggest declines in 19 months this week. In much of the country, you're likely to get a fair price for your home. It'll help if it's move-in ready. So this is, Redfin there talking about that. We've got some Redfin charts here, I think. So why don't we put those up? If you're a BAMX member, you get access to all of our downloads in the daily download section on BAMX. And you can get into BAMX, obviously, if you're not, by using code HOT to get 10% off. Active listings of homes for sale is down 17% year over year. So we've been tracking this on Monday. It's the lowest level ever recorded for active listings. We look at the Altos research, and here Redfin is backing up the Altos research. Let's go to the next one. Homebuyer housing payments is up 13.9% year over year. And look at that. It's the highest according to Redfin here, the highest ever recorded, according to Housing Wire, the most unaffordable market in the last 40 years. Going to the next one here, Bobby, if you could. Median sale price is up 3.9% year over year. Now, interestingly, Zillow just adjusted where they think prices are going. So we've been talking a lot about that 6.5% number. Zillow just yesterday, they were projecting 6.5% over the next 10 months. Zillow just downgraded that to 4.9%. So seeing some friction here for sellers, and which may impact prices. Go to the next Redfin chart out of this report. New listings of homes down 7% year over year. Again, this is the lowest recorded number on record for new listings. Is that all we have for the out of this Redfin report? Yeah. All right. So monthly housing costs all-time high. It's deterring, buyers. There was a report in NAR, just came out of NAR, that approximately just over 1/3 of buyers saying they're just not going to buy right now. They're just waiting. I would argue, and I've made the argument, that as real estate professionals, you got to get out, and if they want to get a deal on price, okay, if it's, there's two ways to buy, right? It's price or payment. Many mortgage buyers buy on payment, but if they're looking for a deal on price, and some buyers are, then I would argue coming into this winter might be the opportunity to do that. Okay, there's a lot of signals that quarter four might be the best value over the next 5 quarters. If we look at all 4 quarters of 24 and the fourth quarter of this year, quarter four might be the best value for home price. Not saying that's going to be the case for payment, of course, with where the rates are and depending on where the rates go next year. But if we're just looking at price, might get the best opportunity. You might get the least competition here in this fourth quarter as well, if you're thinking about getting the right home as a buyer. Of course, what most buyers need is a mortgage to be able to go and buy the house. The mortgage applications decreased 0.8%. I don't know if, Bobby, if you can put up the Mortgage Banker Association piece here. They went down again 0.8% from 1 week earlier, according to data from Mortgage Banker Association mortgage application survey ending in the week September 8th. So this is now another consecutive week where we have seen the mortgage application demand, however you want to look at that, go down. The market composite index is a measure of mortgage loan application volume. It's on a seasonally adjusted basis from the 1 week earlier, which is down to 0.8%. On an unadjusted basis, the index decreased 12%. Okay, here's the quote from Joel Kahn, the chief economist and vice president at MBA. Mortgage applications decreased for the 7th time in 8 weeks, reaching the lowest level since 1996. We reported that last week again. Last week's decline was driven by a 5% drop in refinance applications for the weakest reading since January 2023. Refinance share of mortgage application decreased to 29.1% of total applications from 30% the previous week. So similar story here. You're going to continue to hear, one, because it's just seasonality relevant, that applications are going to decrease going into the fourth quarter, which this is a signal for, this is what I'm talking about for fourth quarter for buyers. Look at the competition that you've been experiencing really the last 2 to 3 years. If you're educating a buyer, show them this mortgage application data. Hey, if you're one of the lucky buyers, that you've worked hard enough, you're fortunate enough to be able to go out and still afford a house with the highest unaffordability in 40 years. Fourth quarter's hunting season for you. Look, buyers are receding out of the market. NAR just reported that 1/3 of buyers are just going to wait. They just can't do anything right now. You see mortgage applications dropping. The unaffordability is at an all-time high. If you're one of the few that can be left standing here to go out and make a purchase, you've worked hard, you've saved your money, you can afford in this environment still, this is hunting season for you. It's time to go out and shop because you haven't had it this easy as a buyer in the last 3 years. So if you're still on the hunt, now's the time to go out and capitalize. And it's hunting season for agents too, by the way. Okay, I don't know when hunting season is. I think it's around Thanksgiving that seems like a fit. If you're a hunter, let me know in the comments. I think that's the case. Um, but it's hunting season for real estate professionals, because the fourth quarter, the first quarter are probably going to be the lowest transaction volume of any Q4, Q1 that we've seen in the last 5 years. It's going to get the bar of the floor rather of transactions is dropping, and the bar to be able to do those transactions is rising. It's why, hey, the data and the information we're talking about here every single day is volatile. It changes all the time. It can be very confusing. Instead of giving up and just not knowing anything and just being a showing time agent and just, you know, checking out, this is why the hot sheet exists. This is why I love this community, because we've decided let's check the box and know what we need to know to be able to help people make great decisions. Trisha says it's hunting season now, archery season. I'm actually in Palos Verdes, California, and at this little small meeting thing for Realtor.com, and they have archery as an activity today. I chose the golf. I don't know, Trish. Let me know if I made a big mistake there. Rebecca's not giving up. No, why would you give up? You're educating yourself every single day. You're getting better, and then you're going to go out there and hunt and help other people make great decisions. This is the time the best businesses are built, guys. So listen, the data is what it is. I'm not going to get up here on the hot sheet and not say the truth. Okay, this is what it is in this market. I want to know this inside and out. I want to know the data so I can help people make great decisions. But sometimes it just is what it is, right? The numbers, I can't fluff up the numbers anymore. What I can say is that there's a significant opportunity, the way I look at it, for buyers. And the agents that are out there doing a great job on tapping listings, helping educate people, are going to be able to help the people that need to make a move, right? All right. Some people that might make a move out of holding real estate, this has been a big theme on Twitter, are Airbnb homeowners. We have a piece on nowbam.com. If Bobby could put it up, that would be great. New York City short-term rental rules leave Airbnb hosts with fewer options. It just was at dinner last night. Jill Big, shout out to Jill if anybody knows her. A monster transaction team in Hoboken, New Jersey, right outside of New York City. And somebody at the table asked her, said, "Hey, Jill, definitely golf, Katie. Me and you are in alignment there." We are at the Terranea, Lenny. Yes, we are. Is that, if I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. So we're at this dinner and somebody asked Jill, "Hey, can you do Airbnbs in New York City?" She's like, "No, I mean, you can if you're doing them illegally, maybe, but no, you're not really allowed to do Airbnbs in New York City. New York City is a market so unique to any other market in the country, and then that whole Hoboken, even though that's New Jersey, the kind of whole area gets wrapped into it. Listen, New York City doesn't have an MLS. Listen to that. If you're renting a property, the tenant pays the fee to the realtor, not the other way around. Typically, I think in most markets, you see the landlord or the property owner paying the fee, not in New York City. New York City is basically opposite of anything you would think. So New York City officials have started enforcing new, strict regulations against short-term rentals, potentially resulting in the removal of tens of thousands of illegal listings from Airbnb and other platforms. Twitter, don't know if this is accurate or not, but if you just look up quick search on Twitter, on the Twitter X, it's showing about, people are saying 40,000 that have done the digging, 40,000 listings. So on Airbnb in New York City, but those are New York City officials are starting to enforce and get those removed. Airbnb's calling the new rules a de facto ban of their platform, and short-term rental owners say the new policy will hurt families trying to make ends meet, as well as families looking for lower cost accommodations in New York City. Realtor.com has added an Airbnb integration to its platform to enable homeowners to determine the amount of short-term rental income they could earn with their home. Okay. So Airbnb saying it's going to hurt families trying to make ends meet. meaning rental owners. Okay, I don't know. I don't know about that. You can still get a pretty cheap hotel in New York City even today. I mean, it might not be a place you love, but I don't know if I'm comparing the $100 hotel room to the $100 Airbnb. I'm typically, I don't know, I'm more in alignment with Marriott than, for me personally, than the Airbnb owner at the $100. How clean are you going to get that place for $100? At least the Marriott's got full staff there. So if it's not clean, give me another room. Anyways, folks heading to New York City and looking to save their money on accommodations will have fewer to choose from, especially if they're hoping to find a bargain on Airbnb or VRBO. As of last Tuesday, New York officials um, started to really make these enforcements, and hosts who've been making bank by renting out their homes are crying foul. Okay, so this law's local law 18. It's passed in January of this year, requires homeowners to register with the city government if they want to rent out space of their homes for less than 30 days prior to or per booking, less than 30 days per booking. Airbnb and some local rental hosts filed separate lawsuits against the city to block enforcement of the rules outlined in local law 18. In your market, can you do Airbnbs? Yes or no? The reason why I think this is relevant today, and it was relevant in the conversation that I was having last night, is that will we get more inventory coming from Airbnb? Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, the author, real estate guy, very opinionated. If we can put up his tweet, Bobby, if you could put up Kiyosaki's tweet, there are some people that have an opinion that Airbnb. So Marissa, good seeing you in Austin last week, by the way. Marissa says they're about to ban it in Dallas. Yes, Rebecca, rich dad, poor dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Airbnb to lead real estate market crash. If you want a new home, your happy days are around the corner. Same for rental property. The best time to get rich is in a crash. Good luck. So Kiyosaki now believes that Airbnbs are going to create a real estate crash. Now, he's wrong. Okay, by the way, he's just simply wrong. Okay, let's just go. How much Airbnb inventory is there? Okay, it's less than 1% of the total supply. Okay, Airbnb is less than 1% of the total supply. Now, could we make an argument to support Kiyosaki that says in certain, he is constant doomsday, Rebecca Kiyosaki, he's been doing it for decades. But could we make an argument to support his doomsday analogy on a real estate crash that in certain markets that are heavy Airbnb, you could see a pop in inventory that to me would be helpful for affordability. We just haven't seen it we just went through the new listing data. The Redfin data, we did it on Monday with Altos Research. The new listing data, the inventory data does not support an Airbnb crash. Home prices are still at these near all-time peaks, or in many markets at peak of last year. So if these Airbnb owners were hurting, if they were in that bad of a spot right now, they'd be listing the home. Those homes would be hitting the market actively. In OKC, there are many Airbnbs, says Jody. Okay, so I mean, I don't know what many means, but in some markets, if there's too many, right, there are some metros where you've got just a lot of Airbnbs because everybody thought that this was easy money. I think that there is a max out for Airbnbs. It's not like every single community can do Airbnb. I'd be wanting to get into a location where there's not a lot of hotels, but there's a lot of reasons for people to be there. Maybe next to a university, or some of the, like, I've got a place in Connecticut, it's a shoreline community. I mean, Airbnb is good for all but 4 months. The rest of the year, and people aren't going to want to be there in January or February. So it's actually just better management decision if you're going to rent that property out to rent it out annually. Okay, so investors haven't decided to sell at scale these Airbnbs. It's less than 1% of the inventory until we see this kind of take shape in the inventory, I don't see an issue here with Airbnbs. And I do expect more rules like this to come out. The intent behind the rule in New York City is to put the end to the free for all, with New York City residents and landlords renting out their apartments nightly or by the week to tourists or anyone coming to town for short stays. Supporters of New York City's aggressive new stance have been pushing for tighter regulation of short-term rental platforms in New York and other metros, especially with homes in short supply. I think obviously the hotel lobbyists are probably in on that deal as well. Okay. Now listen, there's a lot of ways to get data. You can go to PropStream and do it. I don't know. You can put in the comments. There's other places as a real estate professional. You can go and get data and find out, what homes are being used as short-term rentals, and then you can go market to them. If you think in your community there's going to be, one of these rules coming down, you can get ahead of that. Hey, look at where the values are. Be ahead of, if you believe there's an increase in inventory coming to your community due to people getting out of or being forced to get out of short-term rentals as a whole. Yesterday, Jeremy did a great job talking about the CPI. Today, we had another inflation report. August wholesale inflation rose 0.7%. It's hotter than expected. The producer price index increased, seasonally adjusted 0.7% in August, higher than the 0.4 estimate and the biggest gain since June 2022. So similar story to yesterday, where we've got a bigger gain than recent memory. And now yesterday on the CPI, now today on PPI. However, excluding food and energy, core PPI increased 0.2%, which was in line with the estimate. But the 0.7 seasonally adjusted being higher than the 0.4 estimate, it's a little bit of a yellow card. It's like, okay, we knew it was going to come in, on an increase, but this is a little bit hotter than expectation. Something to take note of here as we try to bring overall inflation down to 2%. Elsewhere, retail sales increased higher than expected as well, 0.6% in August, well above the 0.1% estimate. The U.S. consumer just continues to just jam on their purchases. Initial jobless claims nudged higher to 220,000 for the week ended September 9th, below the 225,000 estimate. So we didn't get a help from jobs there. I mean, when I say help, the FOMC looks at that as, helping their cause if you get a slightly increase there on job loss. We'll see what they do 25th, 26th. This data, obviously following more closely with the CPI yesterday that Jeremy did a great job breaking down, coming in a little bit higher, and we'll just have to see how they react to that. The FOMC meeting is going to be the 25th and the 26th. So not next week, but the week after. What is next week? And I haven't been told that we're officially sold out, so it's literally down to a handful of tickets, is BAM Camp. It's September 20th in Naples, Florida. I can't wait. I'm going to be in Naples all week next week for once. So I'm leaving here. I think tomorrow we're going to have our free format Friday show. Tomorrow, take some questions, take your calls on the hot sheet. And then I get out of here in the afternoon, and then all week in Naples, getting ready for Wednesday, September 20th, BAM Camp. We have a VIP experience with myself, Eric, the broke agent, other BAM members. We're going to be having dinner the night before. So that's Tuesday, September 20th. So if you want that BAM Fam VIP experience, if you got an option to grab that, I know there's still a couple spots on that left. And then the all-day event on September 20th, BAM Camp, a couple spots left on that as well. If you're a BAMX member, you get 25% off of both of those prices. So become a BAMX member by using code HOT to get 10% off. And then I would love to see you in Naples next week. If Naples is not in the cards, and maybe you are just a West Coaster, if you like this area that I'm sitting in right now, LA, you live closer to here, and you want to do an event to set yourself up for the year, go to FubCon, which is going to be happening September 25th through the 28th. I'm at dinner last night. Somebody's like, hey, who's going to FubCon? I'm like, well, we're promoting it at BAM. We've got a discount code 30% off, which is down below in the link down below. Plus, you get your additional tickets 55% off by using the BAM code down below. But he's like, dude, you got to go. I'm like, Eric might pop over because he's right there. I'm hopeful I can get there. I just don't know if it's going to be in the cards for me. But he's like, dude, they do a band every year. They got multiple keynotes. He's like, they put on one of the biggest events I've ever seen in real estate. So good reviews here from previous FubCons. This one looks bigger than ever. Get to FubCon September 25th, 28th. There's a link down below and a BAM discount code to get 30% off of your ticket. Let's take a look at the 10-year reacting to the PPI here before we sign off. 10 years at 4.27, so coming in a little bit higher. Looks like that might be the theme here throughout the day. The 30-year fixed yesterday, pretty stable here this week. 30-year fixed, stable, not where we want to see it, but just stable kind of where it's been, coming in at just under 7.25. If we scroll down, Bobby, to the if you scroll down to the Freddie Mac 30 week, okay, so that'll come out today. The Freddie Mac 30-year fixed weekly could come in a little bit higher than that 7.12. We'll see where that ends up. But certainly living in a world of over 7, somewhere as high as 7.5 on the 30-year fixed. 10-year not helping us out today. I look forward to helping all of you out tomorrow with any of your questions. We're going to do a call-in show. Of course, I'll talk about any of the latest news. Free format Friday on the Hot Sheet, live from Cali once again tomorrow, 6:30 on the West. Every single day the markets are open for the Hot Sheet, 9:30 on the East. It's the only live daily housing show on the internet. That's why we did the guest host yesterday, because we're committed at BAM to keeping this going. We appreciate all of you. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, toodaloo.